Good morning, everybody. What is going on? Today's video is going to be an incredibly important one that you definitely want to pay attention to from beginning to end. So right off the bat, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up because I take a lot of time and energy to post this kind of content for y'all. And I would really appreciate you guys hitting the thumbs up so you can separate my content from the other YouTubers' content, which may not deliver some of the good stuff that I provide. So make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment of your thoughts on what you thought was useful in this video. Because today, what we're going to be talking about is the euphoria that's building in crypto, specifically what's happening in Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about specific trade setups that I am looking forward to for the coming weeks ahead, going into the end of 2020. And if y'all want to follow my previous video where I talked about are the institutions coming, it is right here on our Alpha Trades YouTube channel where I provide a firsthand look of exactly which institutions are talking about crypto and Bitcoin and how exactly they're positioning themselves in the market. And of course, which altcoins I'm watching. So this was put up on November 17th. So today, specifically, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and other institutions that have jumped in, other big investors that have been starting to talk about Bitcoin, how that will impact Bitcoin for the coming weeks ahead. We're also going to be talking about the fear and greed index, what that tells us about crypto and where we are in terms of structure, and are we too euphoric? Are we too greedy? Is there too much FOMO in the market, et cetera, et cetera. We're also going to be talking about the importance of PayPal volumes. If you guys remember, last month, PayPal had enabled their users to be able to buy Bitcoin in other currencies on their platform. And we're also going to be talking about Cash App volumes and what that means for the price of Bitcoin and what exactly is going on with crypto. And we'll talk about Wi-Fi a little bit. We'll talk about Rune, Sol, Link, Band, BNB, Ethereum, Litecoin, many other things, Aave. So make sure y'all pay attention, all right, till the end of the video because there's going to be a lot of analysis done. So let's get started. First off, right off the bat, let's talk about, first of all, this morning, I was incredibly lucky to have BTC pan out to exactly what I was talking about with my Advantage members just the other day, which was I believe that Bitcoin was going to come back towards 17,700 all the way down to 17,500. If you don't believe me, here is some proof of what I posted exactly. All right, this was yesterday at 7:42 p.m. Price of Bitcoin was currently then at 18,500 almost. And I stated that leaving some buy orders between 17,500, 17,700 in case they hit. Well, there you go. We just had a perfect tap on this low all the way to a low of 17,656. Okay, so there's a reason, first of all, why exactly I map out my levels and I let my community know exactly what I'm doing. First of all, our Advantage members are the lucky members that get a peek into my mindset pretty much every single day, every single hour of every trading day, with the exception of Saturdays, of course, because that is my day that I like to relax and take days away from the market and enjoy the profits that we've earned. But every other day, whether it's a Sunday or Monday through Friday, I post my insights, my analysis for my Advantage members. If you are not familiar with our Advantage community, it is this. It is this Discord channel where we have all these locked channels that you see right here on the left-hand side. All these locked channels, whether it's Bitcoin trading, this is where I put out my information of the longs that I'm taking, the Bitcoin scalps that I'm taking, altcoin trades, DeFi trades, and then, of course, equities and options trade if you are interested in the US equities markets. But we are a very crypto heavy community. And I personally believe that we are still in the midst of a bull market. So if you do want to join our Advantage community, go to our website, thealphatrades.com. Whether it's for a week or a month or a couple months, you can go to the products page right here. You could buy the Advantage membership. Give us a shot for $97 per month. Okay, for 1 month, you'll be catching a bull run of the market, and I think personally you'll make that make back all the money that you pay in this Advantage membership anyway. Though we cannot provide you buying advice or selling advice or anything as such, you will get to see our analysis firsthand in the mornings, as you're seeing right now, and of course in the evenings, because that is a service that we provide for Advantage members. And on top of that, we have live analysis and live chats every single day. Okay, so people are, hundreds of people from all over the world, hundreds of traders. They're talking about their positions, how they're moving around in the market, exactly what is breaking out and what they're buying and what they're selling. So these are other traders who are willing to talk about their positions. So if you are willing to learn from myself and other people, come join. Okay, so let's get back to the analysis, right? So first things first, I talked about longing BTC. So if you are interested and you think that Bitcoin, if you're looking for a buying opportunity in BTC, well, here it is. Again, not investment advice, but I know I'm buying. So the other thing I want to talk about is how exactly did I know, first of all, that 17,700 and maybe 17,500 was the level that price was going to generally come down into. Now, I didn't have a crystal ball or anything, and I don't think anyone really does. But having traded for about 11 years, price in markets, specifically markets that one pays a lot of attention to, like I do for Bitcoin and crypto, you get an understanding of the pattern, if you will, right? Now, patterns are not always predictable, but the probabilities are that generally the patterns are going to stay the same. Sometimes they might be completely off, but generally they're the same. So what I said in the analysis was, this is an area where the VWAP weekly, and if you're not familiar with the VWAP, okay, it's a free indicator that you can get. It's the volume weighted average price. And you can get this in the indicators area right here. And you just turn this into the weekly session mode, okay? As you can see, price found support perfectly on the VWAP. The VWAP is often what professional traders and bots and algos like to utilize to be able to defend price at specific levels. And so price coming to this area wasn't really a surprise for me. It was really what I'd learned in the equities markets, from almost a decade ago. Okay. All I did was I placed some buys right around here. And honestly, I woke up about an hour ago. I saw, perfect. Well, they hit. All right, I'm good. So it was almost that simple. I didn't trade any of this chop and this BS because, first of all, I don't really trade on the weekends. Okay. I generally think that Bitcoin is benevolent in a way where it does not give good movements on the weekends, especially Saturdays, because it's mostly garbage, right? The real professional traders do not come back until Sunday, because that's when the CME futures start back up. Okay. So I personally avoid Saturdays, and Sunday when I come back, if I see my orders hit below defending a key level, so be it. But I'm not going to actively trade generally until maybe Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, which is when the futures markets open. Okay. So, and I knew this, by the way, so I knew that pullback because of a analysis that I'd posted the other day. Okay. So just yesterday, I'd posted that there's a decent amount of sell pressure that has increased because Bitcoin was being moved to different exchanges. So if you look at this red circle right here, there was about 12,425 Bitcoin being moved from wallets to exchanges. Okay, this can be found on this website right here, viewbase.com. And you can look up exactly, how much supply is being moved onto exchanges. So even right now, over the past 24 hours, there's about 2,128 Bitcoin that got moved. So in my opinion, I think the move to this downside has completed due to this Bitcoin movement that we've just recently had. Okay. So that's exactly how I knew that there's going to be a potential pullback in the market. Of course, I didn't know it had to happen, and I definitely didn't know that it had to come back to this area. But it was really a matter of chance. And then, like I said, sometimes assets can be predictable. Okay, they can come back to key support levels. And of course, if you look for the right clues in the market, like I did, life can be a little easy to be able to trade, these markets. Okay. You can, of course, see, on the Glassnode data too, that there is more and more Bitcoin being moved to exchanges. as price, was moving up in this 18.5, 18.6 area. So again, there's Glassnode data, the view-based data that I just showed you. So many clues, in my opinion, available. And aside from that, honestly, I was just looking at the technical setup and I saw each one of these, support levels being hammered. So I said, well, this kind of looks like a head and shoulders pattern. If we measure that out, we're coming somewhere around 18,000-ish, maybe 17,800 or so. So I figured the VWAP weekly right here is around that area. All I did was lay down my orders, come back 24 hours later, see my orders got hit and make some money. Sometimes it's really that easy. Okay. So yeah, anyway, let's keep moving on, right? So here are some of the good things that are happening in Bitcoin. Okay. Again, if you watch my video from last week, Are the Institutions Coming? You'll see I also mentioned Citibank exactly projecting a massive 6-figure target for Bitcoin. If you are interested in that, go watch this video. BlackRock. Now, if you guys are not familiar with BlackRock, they're one of the biggest funds and institutions in the world. Okay, they manage trillions of dollars for U.S. pensions, for average retail investors, and even some bigger banks. And what they have done recently is they have pivoted their rhetoric, if you will, for Bitcoin. Generally, if you guys remember back from 2017, 2018, almost everybody thought that Bitcoin was garbage, crypto was going to zero, or it was a bubble. But major institutions have kind of shifted their view, because sometimes that's what it takes, right? Sometimes it takes an asset to be able to prove them wrong. And I don't think people understand that that is not bad. Okay, it's not a bad thing for you to have a view where you think that Bitcoin was a bubble or it could just be trash. Back in 2017 wasn't really the most outlandish view, because you had a bunch of people on Twitter telling everybody that this is going to replace the US dollar and is going to replace gold, only when Bitcoin was going all the way from 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. And then the smartest people in the world, like the BlackRock CIO, Skybridge Capital, which is Anthony Scaramucci's fund, JP Morgan Chase, or Jamie Dimon, Stanley Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, all these smart investors talking about Bitcoin potentially maybe taking away the market cap of gold and maybe doing better than gold, is, in my opinion, the kind of shift that you want in the span of 2 or 3 years. Okay. Because it shows people that Bitcoin has done something to earn its right to stay and be talked about in a positive manner. And that, to me, is worth an asset being looked at, and having traded for the last 4.5 years that I've done. Okay, so in my opinion, the more exposure that Bitcoin gets in terms of positive talk or talk in media, especially from the CIO of BlackRock Fixed Income, Rick Ryder, this is a good thing. Okay, so I think this is very bullish. Same thing with hedge fund manager Stanley Druckenmiller. If you guys are not familiar with Stanley Druck, he's one of the OGs when it comes to investing. He's almost as good as Warren Buffett, if not better in some ways. He talking about Bitcoin is a very, very good thing. And I think that this kind of exposure is generally a good thing. Now, here's where things get interesting, because what we have is a lot of positive talk, right? Citibank had a 6-figure projection for target of Bitcoin in 2021. Stanley Druckenmiller talking very highly of Bitcoin. BlackRock CIO talking positively about Bitcoin. Jamie Dimon finally coming around. Skybridge Capital, which is again Anthony Scaramucci's fund, jumping into Bitcoin, and they mentioned that they may hold some Bitcoin positions already. All these things are kind of creating this noisy effect for me. The noisy effect is this. Generally, what you want to see is this marker right here, somewhere around between fear and greed. Now, of course, I understand that this kind of survey and this kind of sentiment analysis is not the end-all be-all of everyone being bullish and everyone being greedy, but it gives you a decent idea of exactly how they collect data from Twitter scraping, from Google searches and keywords, and it helps you gain a decent understanding of exactly where people are. And honestly, I scroll through Twitter a lot. I read a lot of articles. I consume a lot of content in terms of podcasts. One, because I'm always constantly striving to learn and make myself better as a human, as a trader, and just in general, I think it's always good to keep learning. Okay. So, what that tells me is there are a lot of people starting to talk about Bitcoin. However, there's a caveat to that. I don't think that we are near the bubble like levels that we were in 2017. In fact, even if we take out 2017, I don't think that we're in that kind of bubble zone yet. We are very, very close, though. Very close. Because as greed, this kind of exposure in terms of, BlackRock CIO, Stanley Druckenmiller, conversation on CNBC, JP Morgan Chase, Anthony Scaramucci's fund, Paul Tudor Jones, all these public media sound bites and articles that you see are creating that hype machine, creating that noise machine where people at some point will start to jump in heavier. Now, I think personally they're already starting to jump in heavier because I'm going to show you a couple pieces of data that will show you exactly how retail, okay, which is we call the herd, the general person, the average person who has not really been, diving into crypto like the last couple of years, like you guys have or I have, okay, they are the people sitting on the outside and they generally FOMO, retail generally FOMOs right near the top. So I'm going to show you a couple pieces of data showing you that we're somewhere close to it. I don't think we've created it yet, but we damn sure are getting close. So what that will do is it will help you understand exactly where the positioning in the market is and give you some general timeline, some general maybe price range, if you will, of when we could start expecting to get out of the market because the market is getting a little bit too frothy, meaning it's getting a little bit too top heavy, too much FOMO, too much greed. And like I said, retail generally helps create the top. And that's where, in my opinion, I would want to get out. So first things first, Grayscale, as we very well know, has been buying a shit ton of Bitcoin. All right. And I mean an enormous amount. I think at present moment, last week, Grayscale bought up about 24,337 Bitcoin just this past week. Aside from that, I think they own somewhere close to about 2.4, 2.5% of the total supply of Bitcoin in the world. Again, don't quote me on that. I think that is the stat, but if not, it might be a 0.5% off here and there. Okay. So that again is a very, very big sign. All right. Now let's get to the data, right? This is the retail data. So Hunter Murgart, he wrote this very, very good article, and he found out this data about how when PayPal last month started talking about enabling their users to be able to buy and sell crypto, specifically Bitcoin. Prior to that news breaking out, the one of the largest liquidity providers, Paxos or Itbit as we know it, we're doing about 3 million of volume a day. Okay. Now, forward, a good month or so, okay, Paxos and Itbit are now reporting that due to that PayPal news breaking out, they're now seeing almost a 5x, almost an 8x increase in terms of trading volume, going from 3 million a day, like I mentioned, all the way up towards 16 million, 18 million a day. Okay, that is incredible. Okay, that tells you that the retail volume and the retail herd is coming and they're buying in droves and they're creating that liquidity and they're creating that engine that is maybe creating the frothiness and the euphoria in the crypto market. Okay, and it's great because for people who are watching this video, if you are watching this video, you are one of the few people who understands how the psychology of the market works. You're not just a typical investor who just buys the top and sells the bottom. You're trying to get better as a trader, as an investor, to understand all the metrics related to the market, all the psychology that's related to the market, and make informed decisions. So the informed decision is this: we are getting close to the frothiness in the market. And we're getting close to that point where it's going to be a tipping point where things are going to go parabolic, right? Meaning Bitcoin price, for all I know, could explode, back up towards 18,000, 19,000, 20,000 once more. Same thing with, altcoins, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. They might explode further. And if we start seeing that heavy noise of all of these people, starting to talk about Bitcoin, once again, CNBC, MSNBC, all these news networks, Bloomberg, etc., starting to talk about Bitcoin, I personally think that will be the time to exit. Okay. Generally, exits like that are not directly price based. You should be paying attention to the cacophony of noise that happens in media, as well as your friends and your family constantly, chattering about Bitcoin and crypto. And did you see what happened with this coin and that coin? And did you hear about Bitcoin? See, that's what you got to pay attention to. That is our little secret that I'm going to tell you guys. Don't pay attention to exactly what's happening, the price, and trying to time the top. Try to remember the noise that happens in crypto, the noise that happens in these markets when that parabolic move is happening, along with the chatter increasing on Twitter, on Facebook, on your messages, whoever you chat with in terms of family or friends. Okay. Let's move on to Cash App, right? Even Cash App, which again is generally a retail app, right? Square's Cash App Bitcoin revenue soared about 1,000% year over year. They're now doing $1.63 billion in Q3. Now, of course, we're deep into Q4, and I think even as of late, they reported a ton of volume increasing in terms of the money that they are transacting in Bitcoin. Okay. So again, if you're buying and selling on Cash App, you're generally a retail investor. And if you're a retail investor and the noise is once again increasing, as we see from the PayPal data, and now we're seeing from the Square's Cash App, well, something big is coming in terms of a big movement. All right. Now, finally, let's sort of pivot a little bit and move on to Bitcoin, right? And move on to exactly what's going on in price analysis, because I want to give you guys some levels to watch, and then we'll move on to altcoins. Okay, so let's sort of zoom to this analysis. So first things first, like I said, there's a key pivot level that I was watching right here, which is around 17,700 or so, and the weekly VWAP session met my price target perfectly. So I am long once again in Bitcoin. I avoided all this garbage, but I have multiple altcoin positions that I'm also long in. If you do want to find out exactly how I'm trading, the kind of details that I provide for my community, it is all right here. You can join the Advantage membership right here on the Alpha Trades website, buy the Advantage subscription, or you could buy the technical analysis course. Okay. It's only $20. With the $20 purchase, you will get 7 free days in the locked channels in the Advantage membership with the purchase of this course, which I think is a solid deal. Okay. All right. So bounce off the VWAP, bounce off my key support. Now what? Okay. We had this trend line, as you can see. If you look at this trend line right here, that's increasing all the way up. The one thing that I don't like about this movement is we broke through that trend line. We broke through it and quite violently, if I may add. Now, the question is, do we get back towards that trend line? And if so, do we reject it and roll over? See, that may not be good. If we get to the trend line and we start rolling over to the downside, and that's probably not a good thing, because if that happens, chances are maybe we come back over here, which is the next big support level of somewhere around 17,400 ish. But if that breaks, then we have to start digging all the way into 16,700, maybe, 16,225. However, we will only know exactly what happens in this area in the next couple of hours. Okay. Possibly even the next, 12 to 18 hours, because that's when the stock market will open, the futures markets will open, and then we'll get to see if the bigger traders come back into the market and essentially drive this price back up inside this range. Because here's the thing, I personally believe that there's this big range right here, this channel that's being developed. And as long as price gets back in the channel, stays in the channel, I believe that at least we're getting towards 19,287, which is a key target that I've mapped out from the weekly chart, all right, back from 2017. Okay, so if you guys look at this movement that we had in 2017, where we almost went to 20,000, right? Well, that's the weekly close right there. And we are very, very close to it. Okay, so 19,287 is a key marker that I'm watching. If we get past that, folks, I'm fairly confident that we're blowing through the all-time highs. Okay, and it's not even like, we're just going to tap to 20,500 or 21,000. I think we're probably getting to maybe 22,000, maybe 24,000 or something like that. Okay, because I don't think we have this kind of 3-year bear market just to go up $50 or $100 past all-time highs. I think we're probably going to slice up a couple $1,000s higher. All right, and if you want to play the pivots game, right? You guys know that I like to utilize pivots. The R3 pivot is right here around $23,650 or so. Okay, all the way to the top, the R5 pivot is around 33,000. So I think it's possible that we make it at least to one or all of these, R3, R4, R5 targets. But I also know that maybe we don't get past 19,287, and that's also happened. Okay, that's happened in many assets before, where we may think that price is going to go higher and higher, and everyone may think that too. But generally, there's a liquidity vacuum here, and there's a lot of sellers just waiting to sell into the people who think we're going to push higher, but then we don't. So this is why, in my opinion, watching the break of 19,287, which is this key marker, is very important. Okay, so we cannot just assume that we have to break through it or anything as such. We must actually see the breakout, and then we can start talking about these higher targets. Okay, until then, okay, in general, I'm still long. Nothing has changed in that regard. I don't think personally that Bitcoin is to be shorted, at least not right now. There will be a time and a day where we can short, but it is unwise, in my opinion, to be shorting Bitcoin. In fact, it's almost better to be able to buy some of these great pullbacks, that we get an opportunity on, right? The fact that, people are still trying to time the top and short Bitcoin, I think is a little bit, too egregious in terms of, looking at the trend and not recognizing that this is a pretty damn bullish trend. Starting from way the hell back here, September, October, all the way up now, we're deep into November, right? It's undeniably strong. So if you're really shorting, I mean, you should really ask yourself, what are you hoping for? Are you hoping for the massive breakdown? If not, right? If you don't think that this is a top, okay, why are you shorting right now? All right. Why are you not pulling? Why are you not buying the pullbacks and longing? These are the questions you got to ask yourself. Okay, I'm not telling you guys to buy or sell or long or short. I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing and how I look at the market. And to me, I don't think it's wise to be shorting the market. But to each his own. I'm only here to do my analysis and show you guys my point of view. So I believe that we're going to get an understanding of exactly what happens with price over the next, 24 hours at least, if we reject this area and roll back over, or if we break up right through it and start heading towards, that 19,287 target. Okay, because personally, I think that's the first big target that will give us an understanding if we're going to push higher towards 20,000, or if we're going to chop around this area maybe for another week or two. Okay. Now let's move on to altcoins, right? Actually, before that, let's get an understanding of exactly where Bitcoin dominance is. Okay, why is Bitcoin dominance important to understand? Well, Bitcoin dominance helps us understand not only the idea of exactly where Bitcoin is in relation to altcoins, but it also helps us gain an idea where Bitcoin could be heading towards if the dominance is high or low in relation to altcoins. Okay, so at present moment, Bitcoin has once again come back to a key SR level, the dominance rather, and it is right around 64 points that it found support on. Now you can see this massive doji being created right now. If we start pushing back up in terms of dominance, here's what I think will happen once more. As you very well know, for the last several weeks and almost a month or two, right? Bitcoin has pretty much skyrocketed and altcoins have generally been held behind. Most altcoins, have not performed as well as Bitcoin has over the last several weeks. Now, of course, the last couple of days, they've greatly caught up. We saw XRP putting in, almost a 40% movement to the upside. I think some of that got wiped away today. But of course, again, you can see massive parabolic movement. We saw Ethereum putting in a pretty massive move to the upside over the last, last week or so. Same thing with Litecoin, same thing with many other altcoins. However, if we start seeing dominance start pushing back up and price ready to push back up, I think the result will be the same, where I think altcoins are going to get held back once more, meaning they're going to potentially, chop around here for another couple days, maybe another week or so. And Bitcoin is going to start leading the charge and leading the path towards 19,200, maybe 20,000. And then maybe in a week or 2 or 3 weeks, altcoins might follow. Okay. Now the altcoins that I'm paying attention to. All right. So here are the things that are on my list that I'm watching constantly. YFI. Okay. So I am personally, still in a YFI position. I was up in deep profit up here. I didn't want to take a profit on that one because I still have a higher target for YFI, which is my 13,950, or I'm sorry, a 31,950 target up here. And I believe that we can make it. Okay. Personally, I believe that, YFI can make it back up there. And again, it's up to you if you want to make that decision to pull the trigger, but I'm still, in some profit, right? My entry is 21,250. Price is currently at 24,000 and some change. So I'm looking okay. All right. So YFI is one asset that I'm paying attention to. Now, here's the thing about YFI. If it can get past this level right here, which is 31,950, it will probably challenge the previous highs, which is around $40,000. If it breaks past that, it's probably headed up higher, probably to a big even number like 50,000 or something. I can totally see YFI headed towards 50,000. As if we do just a basic Fibonacci extension, all right, something like this, okay, you could see that the 1.618 extension is around 66,000 for YFI. That's a pretty solid target, and beyond that, of course, we have the 2.618, which is around 102,000. Now, I don't really know if we're going to get that far. I have no idea. Honestly, the kind of trader that I am, I'm not looking for, big bullish, 2x and 5x and 10x. I want the good trades that are going to give me a nice compounding profit every single day, every single week, every single month. Okay, that's where I make my bread and butter. If I get lucky sometimes and I make 30, 40, 50%, I'm happy with that. All right. But generally, if you give me the good profitable trades, I'm going to keep cleaning those up day after day, month after month, year after year. Okay. It's usually the traders that, are getting a little bit too greedy and they want the 2x, the 5x, the alt season, et cetera, to help bail them out of their positions or, make them rich overnight. Those people don't generally last. Okay. And don't be that person, because honestly, the greed and the FOMO, I've seen that over and over in many cycles of the market. Most people generally give it back because the greed gets to you. Okay. And once the greed gets to you, you don't really know when to stop. It's kind of like being in a casino, right? You think you're winning, and then eventually you start losing a little bit. And you start losing a little bit more. Then you start losing a lot more. And before you know it, you pretty much lost your money and you put down more money than you needed to, and you maybe drain some of your savings. So I don't want anyone to be that person. And this is why, in my opinion, this is why we've created this community where we have unbiased analysis of how we objectively look at the markets, how we trade the markets, exactly what we're seeing in the markets. There's no BS trading about hype calls and moon calls. If you want that, go somewhere else, because that's not us. Okay. So YFI is one of my trades that at least I'm looking for 31,950. I don't think that's an unreasonable target. I think it's achievable and attainable. Beyond that, if we get past that, then I'll start looking for 40,000. Okay. But until we clear the all-time highs, I'm not really thinking higher. All right. I'm thinking, okay, YFI, get me to 31,950, and then we'll talk business. Let's talk ETH now. All right, so one of my big targets in ETH, and again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, okay, I put up a lot of analysis on a day-to-day basis, and just yesterday, actually, I did a $100 giveaway. So I think when someone, this guy right here, I thought his meme was funny, so I will be sending him $100 in BTC or ETH. Okay, so whoever you are, John, if you are watching this, shoot me a message on Twitter or Discord, and you have earned your $100 for making me laugh. All right. So anyway, going back to my Twitter feed. Okay, I talked about Ethereum potentially, looking a little bit extended. I'm looking to cut, somewhere around $600 or so, and I'll show you guys exactly why. Okay, so what we have in ETH is, this big wedge-like thing building, but I don't believe this is a wedge. So let's just say these are just two separate trend lines, right? This is, in my opinion, one trend line at the top. And a key SR level that I have mapped out from 2018 is $618 right here. Okay, so I believe that we can probably get to this level in the coming week. So somewhere around $600 is where I'm going to be trimming a bunch of Ethereum. Okay, so I personally think we can get there though. I don't think we're that far off. We're at 525. We just got 75 more dollars to go. I think that's barely like 5-7% or so. All right, so ETH is my big asset that I'm kind of looking at and paying attention to. Now Link is another one. All right, I believe that Link has done some very, very solid retests right here. We retested this key SR level around $13. We've now retested this $14 SR level. I believe Link is probably headed higher towards $17, right, which is a 1677 target. If we get past that, I think we're probably headed towards, at least $18, $19, and possibly beyond that, we're going for new highs. Okay, that's kind of my thought process in terms of Link. I personally believe that Link is also a potential good buying opportunity if this is a good SR level that's retested as support. Again, not investment advice. That's just how I see the market. If I was a buyer of Link, I would want to be buying right now. Okay. Let's take a look at LTC, which had also exploded, right? So all these things are telling you right now, folks, is a lot of these assets have actually pushed up quite a bit, and this kind of pullback is not really a bad thing. Okay, you want pullbacks like this to give you a good buying opportunity, and also to weed out all the people in the market who are just here for the ride, right? These are tourists that high leverage their position and buy 50x, 100x longs, and you kind of want them out of the market because they are generally the people, once the market keeps going up, they're the ones who create the volatility to the downside, because the market will try to flush them out of their positions. And if the market has to flush out these 50x or 100x longers, well, it has to have some deep and violent movement, right? Like, for example, LTC went from $88 all the way down to 78. I think that's almost a 10%-ish drop, right? So that's, 11%. So you could see 11%, in a drop, that weeds out a lot of people who are, aggressively longing the market. Okay. So we talked about Wi-Fi, we talked about LTC. Another one that I'm kind of watching is Rune BTC. All right. So I personally like Rune because it's one of the few projects that I believe in terms of altcoins, especially the newer altcoins. If it starts breaking out, it has the tendency to be a very high flyer. Of course, it has not broken out yet, but it is one, in my opinion, that you should be paying attention to. Okay, Band is the other one. Let's look at the USDT pair. So Band hit a pretty nice SR level, right? 7.34, coming back to retest this key area as support. If we bounce off this, well, I'm kind of looking over here, all right? This marker right the hell over here. And that's around $9.58. So from here all the way up, that's about a good 42% move, all right, for Band. So if you are looking for something like that, Band is the position that I'd be watching. The other one being DOT. This is one of my favorite projects, and I really like DOT. So even yesterday, I said that DOT is hitting some very strong resistance right around 575. And I said, maybe it's time that DOT pulls back a little bit. Maybe y'all want to take some profit. So here's one that I talked about yesterday, as you can see, right? I stated that I'd say DOT hit its local resistance for now. I'd figure it stalls here for a little bit and it breaks up then towards $6.27, which is the next big target. So you could see yesterday price was somewhere around 570. And of course, DOT pulled back all the way to currently around 538. So I don't have a crystal ball or anything, folks. My job is to look at the market, look at key levels objectively, and tell me and inform myself, all the things that are shaping the landscape of the market. And I believe that if you pay attention to the technicals objectively and you look at the value that's being provided by looking at the raw chart and the raw data, I think you will be one of the better traders that doesn't just look for hype, that doesn't just buy the top. I believe every person has the ability to become a really good trader. Unfortunately, we have this tendency of this human emotion that really drags that FOMO and the fear and the greed out of us. And that's something that, in my opinion, we do very well in terms of our community to control those raw emotions. This is why we focus so heavily on technicals of exactly how we look at the markets. It's not about being uber bullish on Bitcoin or DOT or anything. It's looking at the market in an objective lens from the standpoint of what's happening in the psychology of the market. Is there a bubble being created? What are the levels of support and resistance that we're watching? Where am I going to take profit? Where are my stops going to be? How am I going to size up my positions or size down my positions? All the most important things are the things that we pay attention to very, very closely. Okay. The final altcoin that I'm going to talk about is Aave. Okay, so I believe that Aave is, another strong altcoin that I like to watch and I like to pay attention to, because I think structurally, again, Aave is, in my opinion, due for a good breakout. Now in Aave, I see a very simple count. Okay, I see a 1, I see a 2, I see a 3 right here, and I think I see a 4 right here. Okay, I'm looking for a final wave of the 5th, and personally, I think that's going to be somewhere around maybe $88 to $100, because the R4 level right here is around $88.50 and the R5 is somewhere around $98, $99. So you can see, between $88 and $100, that's kind of where I see this 5th wave ending for Aave. And then after that, who knows? This might be a larger, 1, and who knows, we might have a deeper 2, right? Price might come back towards $70 or maybe a little bit lower, and then I don't know, maybe we go up a little bit higher towards like 120, 130, 140. I don't know, but it's also possible that this is the end of the 5th, and from here we're going to have a deeper correction to the downside. But for now, I feel pretty bullish on Aave. I think we're going to push up a little bit higher. Not investment advice, but that's what I think, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. Well, anyway, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. I put a lot of time and effort to do these kinds of analysis. So please do hit the thumbs up. It really does bring value to our channel, and it makes, myself feel appreciated for the content that I put out. So, the hundreds of viewers that are watching right now, I know you guys enjoy our content. I know you watch it diligently, and I do hope that you find value in it. So either come join the Advantage community, like I said, the Alpha Trades, hit the products page, and then buy the Advantage subscription. For $97 a month, folks, you're going to be sitting around with the best of the best traders and discussing ideas and projects that are going to, make you a ton of money. That's kind of an awesome deal. Okay. Or, like I said, just hit the thumbs up, join our Discord where there's a free link below, and y'all can just come hang out with us. Okay. That's it. Y'all take care. Cheers. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Kudos. Cheers.